Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen of the press, my colleagues, for attending what we believe is a very important step to ensuring that Bahamians protect our marine resources, primarily for the growth and development of our country and for future generations of Bahamians. We're here this morning to announce the National Dive Training Program, which we had forecast months ago as an important step in reducing the presence of persons from other jurisdictions dominating a segment of our economy that we believe Bahamians have the capacity to further develop and manage. The government of the Bahamas policy, as you know, reserves the commercial fishing industry exclusively for Bahamian nationals. That has been a bone of contention that we wish to bring simple clarity to over the course of the next few months. However, over the years, there's been a concern raised by practicing fishing vessel owners and operators, as well as new Bahamian investors in the commercial fishing sector, about the challenges they face in terms of employing young Bahamians in the capacity as divers on board their fishing vessels. In addition to finding and employing the divers, they face another challenge that they've indicated is of grave concern to all of the owners and operators, which is the ability to retain, once employed, these divers. In an effort to protect their investment, the argument has been that they have employed available divers and have approached the government for assistance in this regard. Over the years, the Department of Marine Resources has seen an increase in the number of persons applying for compressor permits. And I should indicate that persons are only able, certainly as it relates to foreign divers, to apply to this ministry for compressor permit after they would have gotten a labor certificate from the Department of Labor and then a work permit from immigration. Fortunately, my colleagues share the view that this ministry holds, that they should no longer issue labor certificates and work permits without us working in tandem consulting on this issue. And our position is clear. We intend to adjust what has been done historically. And therefore, the government of the Bahamas wishes to reiterate this morning our commitment to preserving the commercial fishing industry as far as it is practical for Bahamians. The potential for the further development of the commercial fishing industry in the Bahamas is great. While there are other methods by which fish and marine products can be caught, the preferred method by many is to utilize an overwhelmingly compressors to facilitate dive operations. This is a point of view that not everybody agrees with, but it is one that we continue to see in the sector. This has been an effective means for many commercial fishers of harvesting the products that fuel their operation. The government, through a joint effort between the National Training Agency, the coordinating agency for this initiative, the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources Department, the Ministry of Health, and of course, owners of commercial vessels have all gotten together to put together some dynamic modules that will train and ensure certification of Bahamians who are interested in party certification, which which would include the proper use of air compressors. And in so doing, we believe that jointly we can develop a cadre of divers to make available to work on board Bahamian commercial vessels. And we fully expect that this coming season that you will see a dramatic shift in the population on these vessels. The main objectives of the National Divers Training Program are as follows. 1, train a cadre of Bahamian divers for employment on board Bahamian fishing vessels. 2, train Bahamians as certified PADI divers. Train Bahamian divers in the use of air compressors for diving purposes. Train divers on symptoms related to decompression illness, popularly referred to as DCI. Train Bahamian divers in first aid and CPR. And of course, issue training in compressor maintenance and troubleshooting. Another very important module is the one referenced by some vessel owners, the need to train divers in the value of good work ethics and commitment to work and earning an honest living. The training program will have 5 core modules, concluding with a 1-month internship on board a Bahamian registered commercial fishing vessel, where they will be exposed to all the practical aspects of the theoretical training. I would like to express thanks and appreciation to members of the Bahamas Commercial Fishing Boat Owners Association who've consented to allowing interns to work on board their vessels over the prescribed period of the internship, and more importantly, and I speak for them in this regard, to hire Bahamian divers in place of others who have been hired over time. As indicated, the training program is intended to be national in nature, commencing in New Providence and later moving to the Family Islands. We do intend, if the subscription is significant, and we pray that it will be, in Family Islands, those modules that lend itself to distance education, we do intend to use the technology to rope them in and partner with those agencies on those islands that can carry out the practical training so that we don't lose time on any of the other islands where there may be a critical mass of potential divers. And so, once again, we want persons at the end of this press conference to begin sourcing these applications and filling them out. They will be available at the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources and the National Training Agency on Gladstone Road. And we thank all of you for coming and getting the word out that we are going to dramatically shift what has only been talked about for quite some time. Thank you.
This partnership and initiative today highlights the focus of the National Training Agency in assisting with developing competency-based curriculum and training that is specific to equipping young Bahamians with the skills necessary to take advantage of opportunities available in our country. As you would know, our focus is workforce development, which dictates ongoing conversation and building relationships with industry leaders and partners to ensure that our certification and training meet industry standards and approval. So trainees participating in this national dive program, like the minister said, will undergo number of weeks in land-based training and 1 month of internship aboard approved fishing vessels. The land-based training will be across 5 specific mandatory module, and then we are adding an additional optional module. Our module includes soft skills training that has been tweaked specifically for the diving or fishing industry. It relates to laws governing the industry. The minister talked about the diving certification, PADI certification, CPR and other medical training, use of air compressor for fishing purposes, and air compressor maintenance. The optional module is specific to fishport construction. A key component of this training is the 1 month of internship on board approved vessels which will be monitored by the NTA to ensure learning objectives are being achieved. We anticipate that each vessel will have an NTA-approved trainer on board who will ensure compliance with agreed-upon learning objective. The objective is to make this certification in this program scalable, and so we're saying today we're beginning with level 1, but I believe over time we're going to move to level 2 and 3. We look forward to success of this partnership and initiative.
I'd like to thank the Minister for his initiative and Mr. Godwin McDonald in executing this initiative to work to provide us with much needed divers. Like any other industry, the fishing industry is no different. We have a chronic problem with finding divers to work along with us. And we fully support the Minister's effort to recruit and train Bahamian divers to address this critical shortfall of finding fully trained, fully certified persons in the industry. CFRF, that is the acronym, is committed to assist with developing a comprehensive training program and to participate with practical training with the National Training Agency. We would also encourage all other commercial fishers, particularly our brothers in North Eleuthera, to participate in this initiative because, as we know, fishermen are becoming extinct, basically, with the average age of the typical fisherman being about 45 years of age. And there aren't many persons replacing these people. So basically, we have an industry that pretty much is dying. And so I'm so thankful to the Minister and his vision to bring this initiative forward. And certainly on behalf of the commercial fishermen or fishers who are participating in this program, we certainly will do our endeavor best to assist with training these persons, because at the end of the day, it's only to our benefit, right? We are in this business, we have significant investments, and we need the business to continue, not only for us personally, but for the industry at large for the Bahamas. And so we really have to take our hats off to the Minister and Mr. McDonald. So when I had a conversation with Mr. McDonald, I was more than happy, to be able to participate and developing these persons, because it's one thing to certify persons in diving, but it's another thing to become a fisherman. It doesn't naturally make you a fisherman. So for you to become a fisherman, you have to work with fishermen, and pretty much like any industry, become an apprentice to that industry and work along with more experienced persons. So I'd just like to say thanks again for inviting us to the press conference, and we certainly will be very happy, and we will be participating 110% to making this possible. The only thing I'd like to say is perhaps this training could extend into other areas of fishing, not necessarily just divers. We have fish pots, we have other species that aren't being fished right now that can be fished. I understand in a conversation with the Director of Fisheries that there's an initiative to see the feasibility of the deep water lobsters. I think there's some golden crab, I think he mentioned. And certainly we need to go beyond just the traditional forms of fishing, which put, as we know, quite a bit of stress on certain species. So we look forward to working with the National Training Agency, the Minister, and developing various programs to expand this industry and make the industry grow. So thank you very much.
The government will be covering the entire cost of hosting the program, and inclusive of that cost is all of the dive gear and equipment, all of the training materials. I can say that to date, the government has already invested in excess of some $40,000 with respect to just dive equipment for participants of this program. And as has already been indicated, this is the first of this type of program to ever be introduced to the Bahamas. So in this first initiative, this first level, it'll be more or less a pilot for us, and as we go along, as Mr. McDonald has already indicated to levels 2 and 3, we intend to add to the program. But once again, let me say that the entire cost of the program is being fully funded by the government of the Bahamas. And so all we require is for those interested young Bahamians between the ages of 15 and 30 to make avail themselves of this opportunity, because again, we consider the commercial fishing industry in the Bahamas to have great potential for further development, especially in our southeastern islands, where fishing can have an immediate impact on the economies of those islands. So once again, we want to encourage all Bahamians. Okay, the program again is not Nassau-centric. We intend to move the program as we go along to the other family islands. So again, we want to encourage one and all. Men and women, yes.